Hello, my name is Vanessa, and today's podcast we're going to be learning some basic mathematics. And we're going to be talking about adding natural numbers and a little bit about a perimeter, what that means also. So let's start with some properties of addition. Okay? The addition property of 0, that's our first one that we want to talk about. What does that mean? Well, before we can even understand this, we have to understand what natural numbers are. Natural numbers are 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on, right? All the way to infinity. So we're talking about 0 and 1 and every positive number, okay? So if we're talking about 0, addition properties of 0, let's look at an example so we can see it. This is like saying 7 plus 0 is the same thing as, well, if you have 7 fingers and you don't take anything away or you don't add anything, then you still have 7, right? 7 will be your answer to this statement. Well, the property says that if you have 7 plus 0, then that should also be the same thing as 0 plus 7 is the same thing as 7, right? So what is the property saying? It's saying if you add any number, any natural number, to 0, your answer is going to be that number. Okay? Now, the second property is about commutative property of addition. Okay? So when we're talking about commutative, it's very similar. It says that if you have any number, say in this case 3 plus 2, well, we know that 3 fingers plus 2 more fingers is going to give me 5, right? 5. So 3 plus 2 is 5. Now, commutative property says, well, what happens if you do now 2 plus 3? Well, if you have 2 plus 3, you're going to start out with 2 fingers, and you're going to add 1, 2, 3 more, right? So we still have 5. So commutative property of addition says that if you have 3 plus 2 or 2 plus 3, it's still going to be the same answer. So it doesn't matter which number comes first. Okay? What about associative property of addition? Well, associative property of addition includes a little bit more numbers. And all it's saying that, for example, if you have 3 plus 5 plus 7, well, is that really the same as having 3 plus 5 plus 7? So what's important here is to know the group, right? Do we have to do 5 plus 7 first, or can we do 3 plus 7? 3 plus 5, I'm sorry. Yeah. Well, let's see. If we do what's in parentheses first, 5 plus 7 gives us 12. And 3 plus 12 gives us 15. Right? So we have 15. What do we have on the other side? This is what we're putting in question. Okay, is that really equal to it? 3 plus 5 gives us 8 plus 7. Well, what is 8 plus 7? 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Right? So we still have 15. 15 is equal to 15. That means that the following statement is also equal. And now we don't need this question mark anymore. So, associative property says that if you're adding 3 numbers or more, it doesn't matter which ones you add first. You could do 5 plus 7 and then plus 3. Or we can do 3 plus 5 and then plus 7. We could even do 3 plus 7 and then plus 5. Okay? So these are 3 basic properties of addition. Okay? Now let's look at what a perimeter is. Okay? I'm going to erase all this first. now that we've gotten rid of all this, what we had written on the board, we want to define what a perimeter is. Well, a perimeter is the sum of a distance. What I mean by that is, say you have any polygon, any shape, right? If I had this shape, take this shape for example, right? And we knew the distances around each shape. Say this distance was 2 inches, this other distance was another 2 inches, this one was maybe 3 inches, this one was 4 inches, this one was 1 inch, and this one was 1 inch. Well, what would be the perimeter of this polygon? Well, perimeter, we had defined it as the sum of the distances. Well, that means the perimeter of this particular shape tells me that I have to add every side of this polygon. So I'm going to start randomly right here, and I'm going to go clockwise, okay? So I'm going to say 2 inches plus 3 inches plus 4 inches plus 1 inch plus 1 inch plus 2 inches. What does that give us? Well, from our previous properties, it said that associative property tells us that we can just start adding, right? If we have positive natural numbers or positive whole numbers. Well, 2 plus 3 gives us 5 inches plus 4 plus 1 gives us 5 inches plus 1 plus 2 gives us 3 inches. So what did I do? I decided to group this in this form. Okay? So I did these two numbers to get this number, these two numbers to get this number, and these last two numbers to get this number. Okay? Now I'm going to randomly decide to group these first numbers. So I know that when I add 5 to 5, I'm going to get 10 inches plus another 3 inches, which gives us 13 inches. What does 13 represent again? Well, if we remember, we were trying to find the perimeter of this polygon. That means that this polygon has a perimeter of 13 inches. That is how we add natural numbers and how we also find the perimeter of any polygon.